work on something for St. Joseph's Day that I began to do much more thinking about him. I don't know if I've ever understood him, except that I think someone says he's an everyday man. I think that's from a song we sing, and I think that's well put. He's ordinary like the average person. That takes time. So as time went on, I realized that I needed quite a bit of time to think about what the theme was. And it often has, right through the years, I thought of what is historically happening in this country, in this world of ours? What are most people talking about? What are they fearful about? Whatever it was. And so I began to realize that somehow it had to speak to the everyday man. And so most people are in families, so I used that theme one year. Another time it was just being a provider, and so on. And this year we have another look at fear. He had to face fear, and yet at the time his dreams helped him. And that is the first time when he found that Mary was with child and they had not come together. And that night, or sometime, he had a dream that said, "Fear not." And so the second time was when he was trying to get into Bethlehem because he had to be there for the census, only to find that Mary was going to deliver at any time. He could find no room for her, and so ended up in a stable. How do you think he felt as a husband and a provider? The third time was they not only got settled, and all of a sudden, in a dream, again, the angel says, "You've got to get up and go to Egypt." You know, Herod was going around killing children 2 years and younger. So he had to get into Egypt. What was that like? How was that for a man that had to provide for his family? I wonder what Mary thought sometimes. Again, you know, what did she think? And then they got settled in Egypt, and you can go back now. So then he had to make that trek back again. What did he meet on the way? How easy was it to move from one place to another? Then of course the fifth thing was the time he really lost the child. He thought the child was with Mary. Mary thought he was with Joseph, and she comes and says, "Where's the child?" And I thought, I imagine, you know, you as a father, how would you feel if you lost one of your girls somewhere and you had to tell your wife, "I lost her"? Imagine how you would feel. So I was imagining how Joseph felt. I have to tell you, one time I was really stuck with the design. I had everything ready, and I was looking out my kitchen window, and I had a cup of coffee. And there's a lovely tree in front of the house I was living in. It was a very large tree, and it was in the winter, and it cast a long shadow. And immediately it came to my mind, and we often have a term, he casts a long shadow, meaning a very positive thing. But I thought, that's what I'll do. I'll take his name, and I'll make a shadow out of it. And that was how I came to that one. That was the one I thought of, particularly, that I can remember. Well, I hope they get the message. And I hope in some way they are comforted or inspired or thoughtful. But one day, I'll tell you one thing that happened. It was the time I wasn't too happy with the design, but I know I had to have it that way, and that was the first one on fear. And I got a telephone call from someone on the East Coast It was a hospital that got one of the posters. And this young man said, I have to speak to you. And I said, yes. And he said, I just found out I have terminal cancer. And I was and am very, very frightened. But when I saw your poster, I realized that I could get through it. He said something like that to me. And I thought, that's all I need. To know that it affects people in some way, in a positive way. I think he's still very much an everyday man, an everyday person. I certainly don't want to leave the women out. Who knows how people are touched? How many times have we been touched by some ordinary thing that we've known about, but for some reason it makes a difference to us? I'm hoping those posters will do that for people.